Hey Ian, nice to meet you, man. And I think it's good timing as well. Obviously, with the Who's Number One match on the horizon now, literally not long to go at all.
Yeah. It's next week. It's next week for sure. But yeah, man, yeah, good to meet you too, man. Always been a fan of Jits Mag, man. Been a long time martial artist my whole life. You know, uh, it's another notch in my legacy build of to me of doing something. Yeah, man. I've been on Win Magazine, which is good for wrestling in the USA, and been on Sports Illustrated and man, Jits Magazine used to get all the time. So like, yeah, dude, it's about time, bro.
Nice, nice. And funnily enough, that's actually the first thing I wanted to ask you. Obviously, I know that you sort of came into martial arts from wrestling.
Yep.
What was it that made you want to pursue MMA initially? What was it that made you want to make that transition?
I actually, dude, I wanted to be an actual, I actually wanted to be a jiu-jitsu star, but there was not a lot of, there was not a lot of financial, to gain from there, dude. Like, cause I came about it I graduated high school in 2008. So I was wrestling since I was five. And then, and I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. So in that time, I think Tyron Woodley, Askren, Michael Chandler was coming up then. And then back then in jiu-jitsu, I think like ADCC was still big, like, but I think you had to be like a big time fan to really know about like ADCC. Like it wasn't popping off then. I think the Nagas were there. I think that was the biggest thing that was popping off, and I was doing all those across the country and stuff like that. So, but there was no shine of money in it. And I knew man, I had to make a decision, and I really became close to moving in and Lord Irvin's house and being a metal chaser. Do you ever remember those back in the day? It was JT Torres and Kanini Cornelius and all those guys. And yeah, man, I really wanted to do that. And then started fighting, and I started getting kind of like a name and fighting right away. And I just thought that, like, oh man, I'm probably gonna make more money doing this and everything else going through those rankings than that, you know. So like, yeah. So that's when I started pursuing MMA when I was like 18, 19, had a couple amateur fights, decided I wanted to do this for a living, and then fully just jumped on in, fully committed, man, and got signed to Bellator right away. And man, just been a name in the sport since and mixed martial arts, man. So I'm blessed, bro. So it's really cool.
No, that's good to hear as well. I didn't realize that you were sort of like that close to hitting the big time in jiu-jitsu that long ago as well. Because
Yeah, dude. I went to Worlds all then as a like white like I traveled the scene and stuff like that. I was like making a name for myself, like with grappling. And obviously when I fight MMA, like I'm mostly like taking people down and stuff like that. I know I fought in glory, but like I was just a true martial artist, man. Like, but I was a big time grappler. I mean, I think wrestling, the easy transition to a different martial arts, it's a grappling martial art, and it was jiu-jitsu, bro. I fell in love with it, you know. And like, and then some of the ties were still kind of close together, so it was an easy transition. So yeah, man, a lot of my amateur fights was like take down, either knock you on the ground or I'm going to submit you, you know. So like it was those, you know. So like yeah, I was really close to picking like which I was gonna do. I always stayed active doing jiu-jitsu tournaments and fighting as an amateur, and I just chose the MMA route more, you know. So yeah.
yeah, no, it does make sense. Like you said, from a financial perspective, there's not really a lot of money in jiu-jitsu today, but back in
No.
2008, 2009, it was basically nothing, you know?
Dude, it was like this it's dude, I'm 35 now. How old are you?
I'm 31, so not too much
Okay,
younger.
yeah, like it was like, man, it's talking about it, like looking back on it, I'm like, damn, it was like the Stone Age kind of in jiu-jitsu, dude. It was really sad. Like honestly, like the Hodger Gracie, and then I lived with Dean Lister for a good amount. Like when I started my pro career, I used to go to San Diego and I used to go cross train with Alliance, you know, with Dominic Cruz and all of them. And reason why I did that because I knew they had ties to Lord Irving, you know, and stuff like that. Like I was a big grappling head. And one day the gym was closed, so I decided just to go to Victory, and Dean Lister was there, you know, and like that was like my guy of like a person that did wrestle, that came over to jiu-jitsu and won multiple world championships. And I remember I showed up and a bunch of cameras there. I was just bold. And I was just like, what's up, Dean? Like, I'm Ian Butler. And he's like, oh, man, super nice. nice to meet you. And they were filming the countdown for I think it was like Metamoris back in the day. Like remember all those? So like he's getting ready to compete on Metamoris. And he's like, yo, dude, let's roll. So I rode with them with all the cameras. He's like, dude, you have something. Like, you're special. I'm like, yeah, I want to come back to San Diego. I have godparents here and just want to figure out I want to stay. And he goes, dude, just take down my number, you know? And he goes, I actually own a fighter's house, like right there by the beach, stuff like that. So he kept in touch with me all the beginning of my, like towards the end of my amateur career, ever since I turned pro. And when I fought Bellator, I fought Johnny Faria, like, you know, who owns Alliance and multiple degree black belt, you know? Like it was, you want to talk about like jumping into the deep pool right away to a pro rankings. It's like, welcome to the show, Ian. We're gonna give you this high guy. Like, but I did so good against him, man. And but living with Dean and having that training camp was like eye-opening, man. Like living with him and talking about back in the day and stuff like that. And it was really good, man. Like I had an old school history, and then MMA was like that, Pat Miletich, stuff like that, Matt Hughes. So I had an old school culture of MMA coming up, but I lived with a great for my whole life. So like, yeah.
So how long were you living with Dean then?
Dude, I lived with Dean the beginning of when I first moved out to Cali. It was like my first two Bellator fights. My first fight, I was doing a training camp out there. So I lived with him for like 2 months, fought, fought the fight, and then came back to St. Louis. It was my first ever pro loss. And then I was just like, man, I need to do something. And Dean's like, bro, you just need to move out here. You just need to move out here. So, dude, one way plane ticket, $500 in my pocket, just never looked back. I had a PR manager that lived in Huntington Beach. I stayed with her. She's the one that actually bought me my plane ticket. Actually, she's like, "Yo, you should just take chances. If you're on the next flight, if you're at the airport, then I know you made a decision, you know." So I did it, man. And then every time I had training camp, I trained up here in the OC, and every time I had training camp, I just took a train down to SD, stayed with him, you know, for training camps for a couple of my fights, and lived with him for a very good while. And then I had Jocko there as well before he had social media, before he knew what an Instagram was. uh, I had Jocko down there. I had Jeff Glover was doing the D classes. Um, it was a star-studded affair, man. Like honestly, I had Chris Lieben as the MMA coach down there too, as well. So it was really, really good. So I stayed with him for a very long time. He supported me for a very good of my pretty much my beginning of my pro career, you know. And then when I was staying in the OC, I trained at a gym called American Gym, and that's when I met Tony Ferguson and all of them. And then he's like, "Yo, kid, I heard you wrestle. I heard you're in Bellator." And then back at San Diego, the gym, like it's got too many egos. When you have too many egos, some things just don't work out, bro. Like I don't know why. Like I do not want I do you guys could have been an all-star coaching staff, but just things didn't plan out. And then I was like, this dude, I got a career I want, you know. So I stayed in the OC. Tony Ferguson pulled up to one of my training sessions and he's like, yo, let's train. So I was like his main training partner getting ready for Khabib. And then Khabib got hurt, and then we fought Edson Barboza. And then we won Edson Barboza all the way. So I was with Tony all the way through his title reign, like, you know, beating Kevin Lee. And then at the time I was in OC, I needed a striking coach, and that's when I found Jason Perillo. And then that's when BJ started to make his comeback, right? And then I think he was gonna fight Yair, and then he was gonna fight Ricardo Lamas. So and Craig Lita. I was Ricardo Lamas, I was Craig Grita. Yair Rodriguez, no, I don't even know how to spin. But he came back and we were training. And then that's when we had Rafael Dos Anjos was there, Chris Cyborg was there. Cheeto wasn't there at the time. He was still coming through and stuff like that. But yeah, man, that's how I stayed in the OC, got signed to Ruka and stuff like that. And then yeah, and that's how my SoCo journey began down in Southern California. So yeah.
Nice. It's a
Yeah.
proper like wealth of knowledge from like all different areas as well. It's really cool to hear, you
Bro,
know?
dude, so much, so much, so much. It was especially with Tony, then they're talking about 10th Planet, stuff like that. And then now going down to 10th Planet, seeing Eddie Bravo, that's like my guy now, you know. I see him, try to see him every Tuesdays, Thursdays, but it's difficult owning the gym yourself now, you know, and stuff like that. So I try to see him when I'm seeing him, I'm down there. Yeah. And I've been RDA, bro, like and stuff like that. And then Benny down to Yush and stuff like that. People forget that these guys were like like I said, it was like Stone Age, but these guys were like world-class champion grapplers even before MMA, dude. Like when BJ like won his black belt, like like won the got his black belt in 4 years and won a world title. Like Benny Dalahush was a killer, bro, going through the grappling rankings, like and everything. Dude, like it's I was so blessed just to be with them and so much knowledge, dude. It was such a like I take kudos to like I almost every coach I had was like a world champion pretty much, or had I was surrounded by world champions. I was surrounded by the Bispings and everybody else doing their title reign. So I got extremely blessed, and it makes me so grateful to be a coach now and owning my own gym now, and in SoCal owning my own wrestling gym and stuff like that. It's cool, man. So yeah, man, I if I was looking back on history, it's like pinch me, like I wouldn't believe it, But I just took the chance and just showed up and it worked out, bro.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned like your sort of transition into being a coach as well, because obviously you've got Silverback Wrestling Club
Wrestling
now,
club. Yeah,
and
yeah.
you've got quite a few locations as well. Is it like five at the moment?
Yeah. And then we're gonna build up more. Yeah. We're partnering up. Like it's a big thing down here for like kids going to college, stuff like that. In wrestling, we do a great job of doing that though too. But obviously, in my past life, if people don't know about it, like I grew up in homeless shelters, got adopted twice. Like I came from nothing, and typically when you talk about martial arts or stuff like that, it's usually those strong people that came from nothing. I'm the same, and it's a good thing that like I opened up the club to get kids opportunities, right? Like we do have a membership base, we do have that, but we offer scholarship programs. We offer a lot of stuff like that of like giving back to charities. So we're gonna open a couple more in St. Louis, where I was born, LA, Compton, South Central, and the Bay Area, all the bad places to help give some people of minorities some chances to like help change their lives as well. So we're gonna open up a couple more for sure.
That's awesome. No, that's a really nice like mission as well. Like you said, sort of taking a step back to where you came from and giving back to that same area. You know what I mean? That's really nice.
Bro, it's yeah, man. I think I hope some people don't forget where they come from, but some people do. Like, like it's sad, but like it's if it wasn't for wrestling or martial arts, I don't know where I'll be in my life, like honestly, and stuff like that. And then obviously, I think always the goal for a lot of world champions, a lot of them do own gyms and stuff like that, right? Like giving back, right? And stuff like that. And I'm at the age of 35 where I'm still in my prime. I probably got like 3 or 4 more years that I'm like shooting for the stars. And but besides that, what I'm gonna do afterwards, like unfortunately, like people like some other fighters in MMA, I see them like after they're done, it's just like, what else are they doing? Like, like it's like, like if you want to take an office job, I do. I'm not a hater to it, like, and stuff like that. But like I hate to see like maybe it might be a Netflix special of like they do it on NFL players or soccer players or football players, from rag to riches, like broken down, you have nothing, right? And I think the best thing to do is possibly like if you have so much knowledge, and I know everybody can't teach, everybody cannot teach. Like it's but if you are good at explaining things and stuff like that, you need to start investing in opening up a gym. I think it's so good for you, like a business wise, financial wise. And I think you impact the communities when you do that too, and your legacy continues forever. And I think it's super important, but I hope I mean some fighters will get it together and stuff like that and figure it out, So
No, you,
yeah.
no, you are right. That I think it's a really tricky thing for any athlete to navigate is that sort of like dip into retirement where all of a sudden the thing you've done for 20 years just can't be done anymore, and you've got to try and find, like you said, like new avenues of new revenue streams, new ways to sort of like keep yourself going. You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
something like that, like opening a series of locations, is a great way to sort of stay doing what you love as well. You know?
No, 1,000%. I mean, I think the Mendez brothers retired early, early, bro. Like, but my thing is like always when it came to MMA, I think Chris Levin taught me this, like in some fighters is get in and get the out, right? Like and I love mixed martial arts, bro. I love watching fights and stuff like that. But but it's true though, especially that game. That game's dangerous, bro. Like, that game's extremely dangerous. Like at the end, like I knew I love it and stuff like that, but realistically, like you gotta take somebody out to make a paycheck. Like, and you have to take somebody out to make a paycheck. And looking back on it, like that shit is not fun. Like, like it's training for it's fun. I think the people I've met, the knowledge I got from it is amazing. I think I can retire now and just be good. But like I'm grappling now, dude. Grappling's fun as bro. Like it's so much fun. I still get the butterflies. I enjoy it. I love having fun. But the thing is to get in and get out, and then what are you gonna do after you're out? Like, I think it's the most important thing, like it's hopefully you're not brain dead and you're not a mummy that you can teach or work day job or something. But like, I just don't want some of our guys ended up working at McDonald's. Nothing wrong with that, but like, but I hope they can get back in a martial arts way of teaching or something like that.
And it's funny you mentioned that as well, the sort of get in and get out kind of mindset, because that is kind of what you did as well, where you were actually building up like a winning streak towards the end of your career, and you were only
Mhm.
like 31 as well, and then you chose to sort of leave it
Yeah,
behind. Is that why you made that decision then, really?
bro. All right. So this is where so it was a very deep decision of so a lot of people don't know when I did leave per se, like I tore my ACL, right? So I was gonna probably fight for the UFC because that was COVID year, right? I got COVID and then I'm on this win streak. COVID came, world shuts down. I was ready to go, so like I wanted to fight. Uh and then during COVID, I was gonna fight Collis Condit and Submission Underground. And training for that, I slipped, tore my ACL. So that led me to be out. And then coming back after surgery, it's this is like my second ACL tear, getting surgery, repairing like, bro, so pretty much ACL tears you out for a year, right? So I'm deciding like when I do come back, like what should I do? What's the easiest route for me to do things? And I think the easiest route for me to do something is probably doing jujitsu. Like a worst case scenario, I can tap. Worst case scenario, like I can, like it won't be as bad, and I'm not taking like giant leg kicks and stuff like that. So I want to do jujitsu. Now I decided to do jujitsu, and then like I also know that my wife at the time is pregnant with my baby girl Tegan. She's 1.5, and I'm like at the end of the day of my career, like I'm quick witted, I'm smart, I'm creative. I don't want my brain to be the mush. Thankfully, I had a grappling background. I was mostly taking people down in MMA. Um, my first jiu-jitsu tournament was a title shot against Andy Varela in high rollers, right? So I'm like, way to come back, right? Way to come back after a year. Did that. Eddie Bravo saw it. It was like, bro, you need to come to Combat Worlds, bro. I just saw that performance. Ended up getting heel hook at the end, but and everybody knows Andy Varela ain't really a heel hooker. I made him resort to go to heel hook. I ended up sweeping him. I ended up doing stuff. So did Combat Worlds. I was in the co-main event of that, killed it. And then that's when I thought like, and then I started getting offers for all these super fights for jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, damn, dude, like I was a popular guy in MMA, like one of the top prospects that came out Bellator, and Bellator loved me and stuff like that, and had to smile with personality. Also realized, like, man, like I did start out grappling and I loved it, and this is really fun. And I'm still fighting against the best guys in the world. I was like, maybe I should make a transition and just stick with just grappling at a high level and chasing titles and going back to that. And I can stay active. I'm always on the mats on all the time with my kids anyway. I think it might be an easy transition. I'm almost getting paid almost as much as MMA, and I'm not taking the damage. So like and then also too, I think my star rankings kind of jumped over, right? Because like Ian's now doing Polaris. I'm doing Who's Number One. I'm doing that because I had a name from MMA and I can actually talk. I'm not like so a lot of grapplers are polyartistic and don't and cannot hold a conversation because they stay in the gym all day, every day, which is good and which is great, right? But when it comes to being like promoting a fight and talking and speaking, well, I came from the MMA world where you have to do that as your job for media and stuff like that. So definitely skipped over people and became like a big little superstar in jiu-jitsu right away. because I can translate that and speak on the mic, you know? So yeah, man. So that's the reason why I left, honestly. It was a good decision for me, good business decision too. Like a lot of my kids that do jujitsu want to transition to wrestling in high school anyway. So a lot of kids start coming in. Me being on a platform, it's free promotion to promote me and what we're doing for the gyms and helping out the community. So, and I'm still having fun right now, and none of that will affect my legacy at all. So I'm just having a blast just doing it, you know. So that's why I switched.
Awesome, awesome, and you are right as well. I think you've competed on Polaris, Who's Number One. You did the High Rollers event, like we said. So you've
Yep.
literally been all around the place at the moment for different promotions. Is there anyone in particular that stood out as the best kind of like experience for you for competing for them?
Uh, Obviously, it's who's number one. Who's number one's up there, bro. Like they were great as far as like because I've been in the biggest promotion. Bellator doesn't get bigger than that. I've been to the UFCs. I've been to the Glory Kickboxing when I perform. Who's number one gave that fight feel for sure. But right there next to them as well is Polaris is up there, bro. Like I love Polaris and what they're doing. I talked to them. Will return in 2025 for sure. Um, and dude, I love that promotion, like flat out. Like I think they're doing a lot of great stuff. I know the owner Matt. I sent him a message and talked to him. I'm like, dude, you guys have some big fight fields of bringing in fighters that are competing from MMA to bring that name value and building it up, you know, and that one event, bro, I actually told him like, bro, I'll pay for my own flight just to I got sponsors to do it and stuff like that. I know it's a stack card. I know my value I can add to it because I own like all the bro. And I've been on the biggest pay-per-views in history in Bellator, Glory, and Who's Number One. I've been on stack cards. I'm like, I can add the value. They always want to put me on a YouTube thing to add numbers. I can give you that too, you know? And plus, I wanted to see what Carlos Condit because he knows me a fight, bro. Like since we both got hurt, I told my ACL he had a slip disc in his back, and just so happened we're both on the Polaris card together, you know. And I think we should run that back, Polaris. You guys should run that back, but. Man, I think they're doing something special. Like when it comes to, I'm a big fan of the UK, and stuff like that. Towards the end of, I'm towards 35, so I'm kind of close to the end of my career than the beginning, you know. So, I love taking my family overseas and going to London and like letting my kids see that and enjoying that and then bringing my fan base over to a different country and stuff like that. I enjoy that, man. I'm really big on the UK scene. Like my boy Tommy is over there too. Like it's Long Gagger, like it's big, man. And I want to add to that too as well. So like I man, it's like doing a press conference. Like I'm taking my talents overseas. Like pretty much that's what I want to do. Like towards the end. So you're gonna see me on a lot of Polaris shows, and I will be at Euros this year for no gi as well too. So I'm gonna be doing a lot of overseas stuff. Like I might even hit up Grapple Fest too. So yeah,
Nice, nice. That's cool to see you coming back to like IBJJF events as well, because this it's a real grind going through like so many matches across one day as well. Whereas a super fights obviously is one
I
and
know,
done. It's a big difference, isn't
I know, dude. Don't remind me about it, bro. Don't remind me. Remember, I told you I'm getting older, bro. Like it's my like it, tournaments hard, dude. Tournaments is hard, dude. I made it to the PANS finals, I believe, last year, and it wasn't an easy road, dude. It wasn't an easy road at all. Like, and then I remember when I did go to Worlds, I made it to the finals. Um, I was young. I was just like battling, you know. And then when I told myself like I'm gonna be extremely active this year, and I think my boy was kind of reminding me. He wasn't trying to be, but he's just like but you're 35, you're not like 18 no more. Like, you know, like like I get it, but nah man, you're gonna see me active. I'm actually gonna compete in the OC Open this weekend too for who's number one. I'm not playing around. I'm gonna be extremely active. You're gonna see me at the three majors. You're gonna see me at Pans Worlds and you're gonna see me at Euros.
Awesome.
So,
No, that's nice to hear. And I think something like that, like a smaller IBJJF Open, is a really cool way to sort of get a bit of more experience under your belt before you do Who's Number One. And
yeah.
moving on to that as well, obviously you're up against Victor Silverio, sorry. And how have you been like preparing for that match over the last few weeks then?
Dude, just scrapping. Like just I think when you get older, I think do you look at film? Yes, right. But I'll also too, at the end of the day, it's your game versus their game. And that's just what it is. You know, you just have to be comfortable of just defending everything, getting used to being better in every position. And that's pretty much just that it. That's it. Like, you know, once you get older, I realize kind of like back in the day, you remember when like Victor Belfort was on TRT and everybody was on a TRT, and then magically that motherfucker knew how to spin. Like all of a sudden, since he's on TRT and going through title rings, because of the years of experience, you know. And so I have a lot of years of experience. And like, dude, I won the San Diego IBJ Open too. Like I went to like it's just stay focused on you, scrap it out at the end of the day. Like as long as I go scrap, I don't care about results anymore. My legacy's already submitted. I just give it my all and just go scrap, bro. And if I come out on top, I come out on top. You know, but like I like from a fan affair of grappling from MMA, like I said, it's a little bit more fun. Like you can, I'm not afraid to lose. And I teach my kids that. I'm not afraid to lose. I always go out there. I'm just gonna scrap to the fullest and just make sure I'm in the best shape of my life and cover all bases and then go out there and figure it out.
And you mentioned obviously you've got sort of plans to come back for Polaris, and then I'm guessing
Yep.
you'll quite happily do another Who's Number One card if they want you back as well. But
Yeah.
is there any particular matches that you're looking forward to then in the future? Is there anyone in particular that you sort of got your eye on?
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. MMA, I want Carlos Condit, for sure. So if you're watching this, Carlos, we owe each other one for sure. Um, Dylan Danish ran for me in Bellator. He turned down the fight, and didn't even show up to the event. So his punch, I would like for him to show up because he's still a good grappler. Um, I would like to run it back for Andy Varela. Obviously, I need to earn it, but I like to run it back against Andy. I like his style. Um, and then Achilles Rocha. Um, Achilles Rocha. I was gonna do pit submission. They needed somebody on short notice. Um, and then I'm pretty sure I don't know if he fought that time because God forbid what happened to Wagner with his heart condition and stuff like that. I hope he's okay. Let's hope he's okay. But one of the Roaches, either I hope Wagner comes back healthy and stuff like that. But it's not Achilles. I would like to scrap against Achilles, for sure. Like, you know, so yeah, yeah. That's my hit list. That's my top four right now.
That's a good list as well because I think pretty much all of them. Obviously, Dennis hasn't really been competing much in jiu-jitsu for a couple of years, but the other three, they're all exciting grapplers as well. You know, they're all a
Yeah,
good like stylistic matchup from that perspective. I think.
yeah, 1,000%, 1,000%. They're scrap, you know, and they're not pullers as much. So we're
Yeah,
not, we're not pullers. I'll scrap, but I went up against a puller in Polaris. It's not bad, but you know, like I like to scrap it out. And at the end of the day, man, like I mean, my goal is to I mean, the super fights are bonus for me right now, and just to put on a show and stuff like that, and just I'm just gonna show up and just scrap it out and just be the most exciting guy in jiu-jitsu right now. I have the personality for it. I can talk for it, and I have a good message. Every time I do it, it's trying to help a kid get off the street to try to get a scholarship. Hopefully, the more eyes I get, a kid will see it, come into a Silverback gym, and we can change their lives, you know. But I'm having fun right now. I just want to be the most exciting guy and fight whoever, whenever. Just send me a location, and uh, and we can scrap it out. I'll be the most exciting guy out there, and I'll go for it, win or lose. Live by the sword, die by the sword. And then yeah, man, and then I'll win the triple crown this year, Pan Zeros and Worlds. So yeah.
nice, nice. Well, that's a really nice message, I think, as well. And that's pretty much all we've got time for. But I think that's a nice way to sort of wrap it up as well. Is there anything else you want to say, or anyone you want to give a shout out to, or anything like that?
Yeah. I want to say your seats, like your newest jiu-jitsu superstars here right now. Who's number one? Polaris, come get me for sure. You guys need it and you guys want it. That's why you guys always have me on. I appreciate you guys. I'm here for a short time, but a good time. But I got a family to look out there. I'm 35. I'll probably go to 40. Jiu-Jitsu, you can go to like 40. Back there was like 42 in ADCC. So I'll go as long as I can, you guys, for sure, to give you guys a lot of entertainment. If you ever need any like uplifting or stuff like that down the does, please hit me up. If you're interested in wrestling, stuff like that in the country, please hit me up. Seminars, wrestling, no gi seminars, hit me up. All my sponsors, E-Ride, Sports Pro, Violent Gentleman, Jocko Fuel, my boy Jocko. Yeah, all right. And then for all my fans in the UK, I'll see you guys soon later on this year.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to speak to me, Ian, as well. I do appreciate it. And take it easy, all right?
Yeah, 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 for sure, bro.
Cheers. Take care.